What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Justin Davis. Today we're going to do an honest review of the new Fullspeed 3S Whoop. It just came out. It's up for pre-order on his website. His website is fullspeedrc.com if you want to check him out. Lewis has been a friend of mine over at Fullspeed RC for many years now, and we started out with the Leader series and finally we're up to the Tinyleader in late 2018, and I believe his will start shipping probably this week or next week. Hopefully. I've seen production pictures of this quad with armies of these things getting ready for you guys, and this is probably the most powerful whoop out there at this scale. It's a 75mm frame on here, and you can run it up to 3S, which is kind of crazy. You can also back off 3S and fly it on 1S if you want to, with the included XT30 that's connected to this quad. But also I have to mention, there's only a few days left. Make your comment down below. Let me know where you're from and why you're into the hobby, why you like to fly. And you'll be entered to win the Tinyhawk on January 2nd that I'm giving away, and the 6S Mephisto drone, super awesome drone as well. If you want to hop on my Patreon, guys, come on man, support me. I'm doing $1 a month for total tech support, and we also have some really awesome Discord chats behind the scenes. And on my Patreon page, I actually share photos of new prototypes coming up in the FPV community, so you can see kind of what's coming up before anyone else sees it, because I get like I said, I get like 3 or 4 boxes a day almost at the shop here. So if you want to see what's up and coming and chat with other people, hop on the Patreon. It's really a lot of fun. But I want to say thanks to Lewis for sending this one, because I believe the hype on this drone, and I was really excited when I saw the specs for this thing coming out. It is like a fully loaded whoop. If you want to get something that has all the bells and whistles, grab one of the Tinyleaders, because this thing is fully loaded. But first, let's go out and do a little flying with it, and after that we'll come back in the studio. As always, I want to show you guys some flying first and show you how this thing actually flies, and then we'll come back in the studio and I'll show you really what this little Tinyleader is all about. Here we go guys, let's do some flying. right, guys, welcome back from the flying. This little guy is kind of crazy. I actually really enjoy it on 2 or 3S, but when I put a 3S battery on this, I was amazed at the difference between 2 and 3S. If you're brand new to FPV and FPV racers and whoops in general, or you're flying your first micro brushless, there is a big difference between battery classifications. When you move from 2S up to a 3S level, it's like you have a whole different vehicle, like a whole different power system. It really does wake it up a lot. It's a lot more responsive. It has tons of punch out, and it almost feels like I'm flying like an over 100mm size whoop. It's kind of crazy. You guys have seen those mega whoops that I've had here on the channel, and it's almost comparable to that, but in a smaller size factor, which I really like a lot. Now, Lewis has several different versions available for you guys with different radios. He has the DSMX version for Spectrum guys. He's got Fly Sky. We've got Free Sky, or FR Sky as you like to call it, or you have the plug and play version, which is also one that you can add your own type of receiver on. So if you had some other type of transmitter that you needed a special receiver on, you could do that with any S-Bus type of hookup. But I got the box, and this is what's included in my box. Now, there is a note inside here that he put in here that said, only the review unit will come with a battery, extra ducts, and props. So I guess maybe you get one set of props in the box when you order this. There's the pre-order is just up on his website right now, and I think it's $125.99 for one of these bind and fly. They also have extra frames, and this is a 1mm carbon frame. It just goes right underneath the ducts, and it gives the whole quad a lot more rigidity. So it strengthens everything here, and it keeps a lot of flex down when you're flying it. Some of the other whoops out there have total plastic frames, and I've had a lot of bad luck recently with some of the plastic frames just chipping and breaking because, hey, in the middle of the winter, it's really, really cold, and sometimes these spars will break. On the Tinyhawk, I had spars break, and the Mobula 7 did really terrible. If you buy the Mobula 7, also, by the way, get that beta FPV frame. But he has designed this differently than the other whoops that are out there. Do you notice any difference here? There's a wider angle on the front end up here, and he has the camera pushed forward past the front ducts right here, which really help eliminate seeing the ducts in your camera view. And you've got plenty of extra room to do tons of tilt here. You will need this on 3S. You need to really crank your tilt up, because a lot of times on 3S you're looking at the ground and you can't see far forward enough. So you'll need to use maximum tilt on 3S, because you're going to be hauling ass on 3S on this thing. But I really like that he has that forward swept, almost like a dead cat style frame for a whoop. That's really cool looking. We've got the 40mm props on there. We have, let me check these motors out for you. Those are, can barely see there, 1103 11,000 kV motors. So those are Fullspeed branded 1103 11,000 kV with open bottom design, 4 bolts on the bottom. Really nice looking motor, and they look extra beefy. 1103s, by the way, are gigantic for a whoop. This is almost heading into full size micro brushless category. And this one is still fairly light. I've got my FR Sky receiver down here tucked right behind the CADX camera, and that's another thing I have to talk about is the CADX camera. It was a great choice for this particular drone. So all the gear that's on here performance-wise, 5 stars right out of the box. We've got smart audio on here. We've got a CADX camera. We've got plug-and-play motors. We have larger style 40mm props on here that I like a lot. These are the quad props. You can also do something like cutting these down to 2 blade props if you want to experience a little more speed, which is really awesome. And we have a VTX on here that's pumping from 25 milliwatt all the way up to 600 milliwatts. So you shouldn't have a lot of problem with any kind of interference. If you want to crank it up, and you could even add a Crossfire Nano receiver on here on 600 and go way out there on that type of setup. But I also did use a zip tie in the very back. If you get one, make sure you do that. Zip tie this battery cable down to the carbon frame. That way it doesn't yank off your ESCs and ruin your 4-in-1 ESC down there. But we have actually it looks like the VTX is on the very bottom down there. And then we have the Fullspeed FSD 408 flight controller. So this is the one that can handle up to 3S, which is really cool. And we have continuous current on here up to 8 amps on the ESCs. So 4-in-1 ESC is BL heli on there, and voltage, you can do 1S on here, so it does have 1 to 3S voltage input, which is also kind of cool. But up to 8 amps on the ESC is way more than we have on the Tinyhawk or the Mobula 7. So we're able to pull off some 3S. 8 amps seems a little bit low for 3S, but it seems like that there's probably a burst of up to something like maybe 12 or 13 to be able to pull off a 3S battery. There is no BEC built into this, so yeah, he has it set up so that it will be able to handle 3S, and I didn't have any problems with that. But it seems like maybe the ESCs could be just a little larger on here, but I'm sure that he has this set up so that it's not going to fry on you, because he is advertising this after all to run on 3S. And let me show you the props that I got along with mine. If you didn't order some, you definitely want to order some extra props. I didn't break any on my flight test, but these are the floor blade 40mm props, and they are push-on props. I haven't had any problems with them flying off, so even though I'm flying some crazy 3S power, they did not fly off on me one time. And these are the extra ducts that you can get, and the carbon frame just screws right in on these 3 screws right here. It feels pretty rigid. Doesn't feel super cheap. It actually feels like that flexible Darren type stuff. So let's go ahead and put this guy on the scale for you guys, and let me give you the dry weight, and then we'll put my battery of choice on there, which is going to be the 3S 450. So I'm going to put it on there. Should we take the strap off? That adds a little bit of extra weight. I could weigh it with the strap as well, but you're looking at 45.7 grams. If you decide to add that little tiny iFlight strap, you're looking at 47.7 grams. And let's go ahead and grab a battery. I'm going to do the 3S 450 on there. Now I'll just set that underneath and set the quad on top of that. See what we get with that Tattoo 3S 450. We're looking at 89.3 grams. They also have an HD version of this coming out that you can pre-order as well. So yeah, this would be super awesome with an HD version. So 74 grams, 74.1 grams with a 2S 450. And again, that's the recommended milliamp size. It's going to get you about 3 to 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes if you're really just cruising with it. But again, the quad by itself, 45.7 grams. Pretty competitive for how much power and huge 1103 motors we have on this quad. So let's go ahead and summarize up what we have here. Do I think this is worth purchasing? Absolutely. If you're looking for something that has max power, more options, smart audio on here, up to 600 milliwatt VTX, a pretty large size 40mm prop here, and a really indestructible canopy, TPU canopy as well from front to back. Plug and play motors. Carbon and plastic combo on the frame I think was a great choice for this, and that sort of dead cat whoop style that we have going here with no camera view showing the ducts, I think was really smart by him, because most of the whoops out there these days show the ducts in the frame, and some people don't like that. They don't want to see the props in the camera view. So a really smart design. It looks really streamlined, and I think it's fairly durable. It does have a nice bit of flex here for the ducts. So I think performance-wise, we can get 5 stars out of this quad. The power system on board and everything else, that all the components that he chose on here is going to be a 5-star rating. And the flying capability of it is also 5 stars. So I'm always impressed with what Lewis has to offer for his designs. He just always seems to rock the boat when he comes with something new. And most people that have flown anything full speed are really into his products. The Leader 3, some of the older Leader quads are still hanging on my wall over there because I haven't got rid of them because they're so great. They fly great and they perform really well. They just fly like a bigger quad, and he just keeps doing this over and over. It's kind of amazing how he keeps reinventing the brand with these new designs. So he's staying current in the FPV community, which is really kind of a hard thing to do, because there's a lot of companies out there just kicking out quads all the time. But he was telling me about this 4 months during the Whoop season, that this was coming, and he shared some photos of it with me, and he shared some flight footage, and I got really excited about how fast this thing was on 3S and the 2S option. So it kind of is, there's a lot of hype around this quad, and now I finally see that it's actually worth the money and the hype on this quad. So I believe the HD version that he has with the split, the mini split 2 on there, is going to cost around $170. Whereas this one without the mini split, if you just want to record this to your DVR, the Cadex camera does look great, and this one's around $125. So right around the price that you would expect for all the gear he has put on here. So I definitely think it's well worth the purchase. So 5 stars for me all around for the Tinyleader. I think it's a really awesome creation, and I'm going to keep this one in my collection because I think it's a really badass little Whoop. And yeah, this would be the supercar of Whoops right now. The Tinyleader definitely is something that everyone is going to like out there. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching my honest reviews. And this one was very lucky. It did not break. And it stood up to a drone camp's flight test, which is really, really a good thing. So everything is looking good on here. But Merry Christmas, everybody, and Happy Holidays. And hopefully you're having a good one out there, and you're getting a lot of winter flying in. I'm Justin Davis, guys. It's been the Fullspeed Tinyleader. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.